Oh, hey, buddy, it's your old pal Scott, and this is Let's Talk Tabletop. You know, there's a lot of negativity on YouTube about wargaming and miniatures and Games Workshop and all of that, and I have never participated in that personally. Now, I'd appreciate it if you did not check my list of videos I have on my channel to verify that claim. Just take my word for it. The point is that it's really easy to be really negative about things in life in general. But you know what? If you really think about it, I don't think we have it too bad. Let's dive into it. So there seems to be a lot of drama and angst and irritation and disappointment with this supposedly fun hobby we have of painting little action figures and pushing them around on a table, right? Seems like there's a lot of name calling and aggravation, etc., etc. And it seems like it's a little ridiculous. But then again, I guess every fandom has that sort of ridiculousness, right? If you look at Star Trek, Star Wars, any of these things, you got people fighting, etc. But if you really take a step back and look at our hobby compared to the way it used to be, I think you'll see that head and shoulders it's better than it was in yesteryear. So let's take a look at it. First off, mats. These things on our tables. You know, when I first started about 16, 17 years ago in wargaming, mats didn't exist. And some of you are going to be like, what? I thought mats were invented with wargaming. Absolutely not. We used cloth or felt or whatever, and some people still do. Flocked sheets of green. And I actually was part of the first Kickstarter for these sorts of mats, and it was like a revolutionary thing. And then when I tell the kids, I have a bunch of kids I've introduced to wargaming for our club and all, and when I tell them, oh yeah, we didn't have mats, they're like, what'd you use? And they don't realize how awesome it is to have all of these mats because they've just always seen detailed, rubble and texture and all of that really truly enhances your gaming. So that alone is a huge upgrade. The next huge upgrade is that you don't have to make your terrain anymore, and you don't have to pay GW's exorbitant prices. This is 3D printed. It's 3D printed, it's durable, it's lightweight, and it takes paint well. And these are all from Panhandle 3D, not this, but panhandle3d.com. One of my buddies, he sponsors Shorehammer every year. So if you want to go take a look at some 3D printed terrain, this is not a sponsored thing, but just go check them out. Point is that 3D printing has had a massive impact on terrain and on miniatures in general, but I'll get to that in a minute. Terrain used to be something that you had to either buy from Games Workshop or make yourself, use some cardstock buildings from a D&D set. That's about it, right? Or unless you're going to do the old shoebox as a bunker sort of scenario. But for the longest time, Games Workshop was almost the only people that made terrain. And their prices are pretty ridiculous. Well, with the democratization, there you go, I think I got that right, the democratization of terrain making with 3D printing, etc., not only have prices gone super, super low, but because of competition, but also it's way more durable than cardstock. It's way more durable than kit bashing with foam board. It's way more durable than gluing gravel on stuff. And while there definitely is a place for that, I know some handmade terrain people, right? And they do that as their business. That stuff is gorgeous, but it's not super durable. So someone like me, I want 3D printed hard plastic stuff because I throw them in a tub and move them to my convention or whatever. And I've slowly actually gotten rid of all of my cardstock, all of my foam board and all that over the years. I used to go on eBay and buy custom made foam board buildings, and they were gorgeous. They were beautiful. Problem is they're not super durable. So for my purposes, I had to slowly phase them out. But of course, there's still an option. Go nuts, you can, and this is what's really cool about the age that we live in. Not only are there new options such as 3D printing, and there's other companies and such that are producing terrain for our hobby, but if you want the Games Workshop terrain, you can still get it. If you want cheaper terrain that's equal quality, you can get it. If you want to design your own terrain and then 3D print it or make it out of cardstock, etc., you can do it. The amount of freedom we have with terrain is just, I don't think it can be overstated, frankly. And it completely revolutionizes our entire hobby. Now, 3D printing, again, let's get into the miniature aspect of that. Behind me, I have Looney Tunes as a brutality warband because I felt like being silly. I have a Rugrats, the babies, the cartoon babies. I have a Rugrats warband. I have a Thundercats warband. I have a Ghostbusters warband. All of these things have been 3D printed, and now those miniatures exist. Now, whether or not they had the license, I'm not certain. But the point is that they do exist. And if you wanted to go on Blender or some sort of 3D modeling software, you could make your own stuff, okay? And that alone, I mean, you don't need green stuff anymore. You don't need sculpting ability. You don't need to kit bash something so heavily that it's a Frankenstein's monster. You literally can just go buy, Scooby-Doo miniatures, and you'll find them. I mean, it's wow, like what an amazing time to be alive. And like I said, it's so easy to get caught up in all of the nonsense of the community. But if you really think about it, we have a really great era of gaming. And never before have we had this much choice in the terrain, in the miniatures, in the mats, and everything. And cheapest prices. 3D printing, etc., is super, super cheap. And I just think it's great. But you know what? Again, with that freedom of choice, if you want to pay GW's prices, then do it. If you want to buy metal miniatures, then do it. Like, the freedom of choice is insane now. And I don't think any of the newer players really understand that. And it's just now occurring to me, like, wow, I can pretty much make, I 3D printed a Borg army for Star Trek, for Mass Brutality. I have a 3D printed Federation army and a Klingon army and a Dominion army with Cardassians and Jem'Hadar. So I literally just printed, like last year I printed a runabout, a 28 millimeter runabout ship for Star Trek, for those of you who know what that is. The sky's the limit. And it's truly amazing. Just the number of free STLs out there where people just make a file and they're like, hey, I just put it up there. Here, you can have it. Is completely amazing, and it's really awesome. Another thing that we have going for us now is the plethora of games out there, thanks to Kickstarter and other up-and-coming game design studios. And it used to be that Games Workshop was basically the only name in town. Then eventually Malifaux came, eventually Mantic came. There's a couple different competitors. You might call them competitors, although they're not quite on the same scale as Games Workshop. But now with all of this crowdfunding, it's again a wonderful time to be alive. Now, of course, crowdfunding has a little bit of its own problems, right? There are maybe too many games, but some of those are going to rise to the top, and some of those are going to be super successful. And I just think it's great. Like, I just wanted to make a video explaining to you that it's not all doom and gloom. It's actually really awesome. And just like before, you could participate in this hobby any way you want. If you like the lore, read the lore books. If you like paint miniatures, go ahead and paint. If you like to play, play. If you like to assemble, assemble. If you like to make them in Blender and 3D print them, then go ahead and do it. It's truly amazing. And we are in a complete revolution between crowdfunding and 3D printing and neoprene mats. It's crazy. So I just wanted to appreciate how good we have it compared to even 16, 17 years ago when I started. I know some of you that have been playing for 30 years or something, you're going to have even more appreciation than me. I do recall that my first gaming club was maybe a little behind the times, but we had blue cutout felt for water and green cutout felt for trees. That was it. Maybe a couple cardboard houses, but not much. And you had to use your imagination. And meanwhile, now we have unlimited options. So I think maybe we should just take a step back and appreciate the hobby that we have and appreciate all of the options out there. And no matter what happens, if you don't like what a particular game company does, there's a million other ones. If you don't like the way certain miniatures look or how they act, or you don't like resin, or you don't like metal or whatever, the sky is the limit. From Etsy to eBay to panhandle3d.com to all of those. It's truly a renaissance. So I would like to thank you for watching, liking, subscribing, etc. Tell me in the comments what your favorite portion of this renaissance is. Is it the mats? Is it the 3D printing? Is it the crowdfunding variety? There's so much to choose from. So, thank you for watching, and I'd like to thank all my beautiful, sexy, good-smelling Patreon patrons. All of these people are great. Yeah. And hey, whoa, wait a second. We've got a new Patreon patron? Oh my god! It's Paint and Suffering. Thank you so much, Paint and Suffering, for joining our top of the list here. So thank you so much. And thank you for Grendel for supporting. Thank you for Fraudfishy Hates Everything. Thank you to Brendan. Thank you to everybody. Just thank you all. Look at these. Look at these. Are heroes. I'll see you next week.